Hello everyone and welcome to the Gaming Den. Today I'm going to be playing Meteor Falls again since unfortunately my laptop is not designed to work with me properly. I had planned actually to do a Nito Chris review today, but unfortunately my laptop decided to say no. So that's where my script is for my review. So we're going to go back into playing Meteor Fall, and then today I'm going to play through with Bruno. Now Bruno was who I mentioned yesterday when I did a playthrough of Meteor Falls with the build they could do the gut punch and charge build. Now, honestly, I'm getting a lot of gloobers early on, but the early on gloobers are not so bad. They're a pain, but they're not so bad because they don't have disintegrate yet. Disintegrate is the reason why they are just awful. And at this point, I can't. I don't like either of those cards. Like dodge, honestly, is the better of the choice just because it has such a low stamina cost and it actually gives a chance to not be hit by the enemy. So it's like, might as well take that. Because Bruno's specialty is essentially to armor up so he doesn't take damage from the opponent and then just hits really freaking hard. Now Bruno also is really good for the one combo. There goes gut punch right there. I actually did look it up. It is I did look at it at level 1. It does do 3 damage or 3 stamina cost, and that reduces your opponent's stamina by 2, and then you get an extra turn. So the whole point of the deck literally is once you get to a church, you remove the attacks, the blocks, everything but charge and gut punch. If you get the chance, you remove it if it's not gut punch or if it's not charge. Once you get those, you just go on your way. You literally could go with that, and you can also run with You can run this deck with overpower as well. Actually, reading overpower if you use the effect, because it costs 3 stamina base. But if your stamina is higher when you use it than your opponent's, then it goes down to 2 costs, and then you also gain an extra turn. So overpower actually can be used with it as well. It's actually pretty good. So overpower, gut punch, and also charge are literally the 3 different cards you can use for this deck, because you just have constant turns going. The whole point of the deck is literally just upgrade gut punch, the charge as high as you can, as quickly as you can. There I was just checking what the information on gut punch just to verify it's like what I was thinking, and I actually did think it was right. Okay, but essentially you want to get charge up to level 3 as quickly as you can. Like that's the whole thing. That's the main card of the deck. The main card of the deck is charge because it doubles the attack power and just goes from there. Plus also it gives stamina back for literally using it for 1 stamina. So it's like it's so good. The card is just so good. Honestly, it's legitimately broken in some sense. Like if it wasn't for the fact that it's hard to get your deck down to a very tiny size, like I don't know. Excuse me, I yawned for a second. I apologize about that. So literally, if you can't afford to get the charge up to level 3, you just go to gut punch and you start leveling gut punch. If you don't now, at times there's also going to be times where I'm just like, okay, I go to like I think it was shown in the video. Like one point I go to the blacksmith, and I don't upgrade anything because I want to just get rid of cards at that point. But I need money because the church costs 15 for the third removal, and the 4th removal costs 25. 4th and higher, should I say. So the easiest way to get rid of cards, honestly, is the merchant, the cloners. I don't know if there was any other actual way. Okay, so in this case, I actually took overpower just because I was like, okay, I could use overpower on this deck. Overpower is just so good. So honestly, in that case, I normally would just go ahead and say I take the potion because the potion is breakable after the first use. So it's essentially it breaks the card to get it out of the deck. It just is another way to just think of it that way. So in this one, when it gives me those kind of choices, like, do you want to get max HP or do you want to get more money? I want more money. I want the money because I literally just want to be able to go ahead and say I could go to the church, do this. Literally, this is what I'm doing. This is why I want the money, because I want to be able to go into the church, get rid of extra cards that I don't need, In this case, I think I had like 42 coins. So I went ahead and got rid of an attack, and then I think it was Rusty Helm. Yeah, Rusty Helm, because Rusty Helm was no good to me. Like, the whole point of the deck is literally to skip, is not to skip cards. As much as you can. It's literally just attack, 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 attack. But Rusty Helm's effect, it says every time you skip a card, you gain a block. So it doesn't do much good. So honestly, I like facing. Oh my goodness, excuse me. I apologize. I did not sleep well last night. Anyways, so the Ghost King is one of the ones I want to face early on, because Ghost King can become a pain in the ass later in the game, because once you get down to a certain point in your deck where you just have a really small deck, he becomes an issue because he has the card, I think it was Tombstone. I think it's called Tombstone. But what the card's whole effect literally does is that when your opponent's deck runs out and they shuffle back their deck, they take damage. And it's like 10 damage or something like that. And then he has other attacks that he can still do, so it's like, ugh, that hurts so bad. But if you face him like as your first boss, you don't have to deal with that Tombstone card, so it's not as bad. If he does use it, it's very rare. He doesn't use it very often. So honestly, early on, if you can, try to face the Ghost King, because the Ghost King is in the crypt. He is the final boss for the crypt. So you want to try to get the crypt out of the way, because the crypt, this is just based off of necessarily like personal feelings, not actual like fact. Like when I go to the crypt, I feel like I see more churches going through the crypt than I do anywhere else. Now, that's probably just because the fact that the Ghost King's literal biggest strength is to deal with a person that has a small deck. Now, granted, I want my deck to get as small as possible, so I like going through the crypt anyways. So it's kind of one of those things. Besides, also, if you get your deck built to the point where you literally just get infinite combo them, then you have no reason to worry about dealing with anything. Bruno is one of those guys, though. I think he probably has the easier chance of pulling off a victory through the whole game. I honestly do lose through this playthrough, but he probably has the easier chance of winning through it, just because Charge and Gut Punch are so good. But I mean, you could still get screwed. You still get cards you don't want, so you just get. You see what I mean, though. Like, sometimes I have to choose between one card or the other, and it's like neither of the cards I want, so it just stacks up the cards that I don't like having in my deck, and it clutters my deck. So it's a big problem, honestly. And at this point, I choose to look at the shop just to see what's in there. Nothing cool. I go to the blacksmith, and I don't think oh no, I upgraded my Gut Punch. That's right. But there is a point where I'm just like, okay, I want to go in there. I want to go in there, but I want to go in there literally just because it's like, hey, whatever. At this point, I honestly was like deciding. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. Tired. At that point, I was deciding what, Gut Punch was good to do. But it was like, okay, do I want to do it right now, or do I want to chance something else being behind this that I could really use? No, I had the stamina for it. It's just, I don't know. Like, my mind thought process is not quite what I want it to be. But honestly, the deck for Bruno is really solid. You just gotta play it a certain way, I think, honestly, to get the full effect of what you want out. Now, granted, you could play a more defensive style, but I wouldn't suggest it, because there's literally two monsters that fuck you. Just legitimately fuck you. One is called the Trickster and one is called Gloober. Both of them have Disintegrate ability, which literally just say no to your armor, no to your weapon, like sword, mace, scythe, whatever. It says no. And it also says, I think it actually does get rid of like dodge and stuff like that too, which is kind of weird. See, that was one, not this, but the choice that I just had before, it was literally just like, I didn't want either card, but I have to take a card. I hate it when that game does that, because it's like, oh, I have to choose one? Well, son of a bitch. And this is one of the points where also like the blacksmith comes up and I'm just like, I don't really want to upgrade anything because I don't have the money for it. The treasure chest, literally, I'm just like, okay, let's just go through, see what's in there. Nothing, cool, whatever. Move on. I just wanted to do something. Village of Miracles actually was one of those things like I wasn't sure at the time. I wasn't sure what my HP was, so I was honestly like, what do I do? So I tried to see if I could find my HP in there, but I couldn't, or at least see my HP in there. So with that, I went ahead and just said, screw it, get the EXP, should be good, whatever. Help me level faster. So go on from there. Dodge honestly actually proved more useful than it normally does. Dodge actually doesn't like me typically, and it doesn't like ever work for me. This run it actually decided to work quite nicely for me, but at the same time, I still failed this run, so yeah, it's unfortunate, but hey. So, Intimidate, honestly, I have a slight liking for that card. It's kind of good, but it's not great. Yeah, here's where I get fucked. Well, thank you guys for joining me on this episode of Meteor Falls. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you once again for joining me in the Gaming Den.